And currently the representatives for Brian Orakpo, LeVar, and the team are in negotiations about the contract. They're just considering whether or not to franchise him. They're talking. It seems like there could be some progress there, but nothing yet. Give me your thoughts on whether or not the team should re-sign Brian Orakpo.
Here's one piece of it. You franchise him because the person that would probably be his biggest supporter is basically on a franchise tag as well, which is Jim Haslett. So Jim Haslett, one year deal, right? So as an organization, I franchise tag him, and that fits because Jim Haslett, in his mind, knows he has to have Brian Orakpo if he's going to have a measured amount of success to keep him on this team as a coach. Now, on the other side of it, if you give him a big contract now and you say, you know what, you're one of our cornerstones, you're a key cog, and we believe you can stay healthy and make plays and play at a high level for this team, then you give them that deal now. That's more of a organizational decision if you make that call. Because if you do the franchise tag, now you let him get to unrestricted free agency, or you try to get a deal done as the season wears on. If I'm Brian Orakpo, I'm not sure exactly how he approaches it. If they give him a franchise tag, that says you don't trust me. That says that we want to keep you, but we don't want to pay you what you're worth. And so you have to prove to us that we should give you a bigger contract moving forward. He may want to just play the season out and test the market, because that could leave a bad taste in somebody's mouth knowing that there wasn't a commitment made to him in that way. So you can look at it from two different perspectives, but I think the most important part of this is the biggest proponent for Brian Orakpo to come back to this team is Jim Haslett, because he only has 1 year to prove that this defense can improve from what it has been over the last few seasons, or since he's been the defensive coordinator here.
So in your mind, he's coming back.
He's coming
They'll
back.
figure out a way, whether it's franchise. Yeah. Dan, what do you think?
I think all of that makes sense. I think he's probably right, especially with the franchise thing. I think my hesitation, the hesitation of a lot of Redskins fans, is when you're talking about the amount of money that he wants or deserves. There just don't seem to be many times in the season or in particular games where you feel like this guy has taken over a game by himself. Where he, and you do feel that way about some of the dominant defensive players in the NFL, where a guy can't be blocked and he's just taking over a game by himself. It hasn't really happened that many times, and his stats have been okay, his sacks numbers have been okay, but you just don't feel like he's a guy a lot of times that completely tilts the field. And I think that when you're talking about the amount of money, when you're talking about sort of starting over and probably having a rebuilding year, I think that's why a lot of fans are saying, look, this defense was not particularly good last year, and if he is one of the best players on it, maybe that doesn't speak very highly for him.
He's a very good pro. He has not proven to be a great pro.
I think that's.
So the justification of it is, if you want great, and we had this debate about John Wall, and look, after John Wall got his deal, he started playing at a different level. So maybe it's just a matter of him getting a new deal and
pieces around.
But I think that when the Redskins defense under Haslett has had some of its best games at the end of that 2012 season, he wasn't there, and so obviously Rob Jackson is not the solution for a defensive problem.
He could be, but I still think that they're two different players. Orakpo is a much more explosive player than what Rob Jackson is. Rob Jackson is a much more fundamentally and technique sound player than what Brian Orakpo is. The interesting thing about it is that you're talking about somebody who wants a very nice size deal in Brian Orakpo, but he's really not even separated himself from the guy that's behind him. They're different players, but that's not to say that Rob Jackson wouldn't be as effective as a starter as Brian Orakpo.
You've always been a big proponent of Jackson. He's definitely.
Well, he can play. The suspension.
Three-time Pro Bowler.
Hold on
39 and a half
I'm about to do it.
39 and a half sacks in his 5-year career.
He was an alternate.
Alternate. All right. He played in the Pro Bowl.
He was an alternate.
I'm just saying, he's a 5-year career, 39 and a half sacks. One of those years doesn't count because he was injured.
Can I say one thing? Obviously, you're not drafting guys or you're not choosing your players based on distractions or whatever. But when you say that he's a pro, he has been a total solid guy for the entire time that he's been here. And the Redskins can't always say that about
Joe
their
Gibbs,
guys,
true Redskin. Right?
Yeah.
All right.